We have Pastor Chad Weeks with us tonight from Russell Baptist Church. He's going to be leading our invocation and our Pledge of Allegiance. So if you would all please stand.
Let's pray. Father, we thank you for this night. Lord, we thank you for this great county that we're blessed to live in. Lord, so many good schools, good teachers. Lord, we thank you for public servants like members of this board and others. God, we're so blessed. And Lord, tonight, and as decisions are made tonight, Lord, that you would just give wisdom and discernment to everyone in this room. God, that, Lord, that you would just bless our educators. Lord, that you would give them patience and passion and energy as they pour into these young lives, as they shape the future citizens of Clay County and everywhere else, Lord, that you would just be with them in that endeavor, Lord. And God, we pray for our students, Lord, that many are dealing with so many different issues at home and so many things we can't even imagine, Lord, that you would just be with them. God, that you would give them a passion for learning and knowledge, but God, also a passion for building character for the future, for what life has in store for them ahead. God, that you would just be over and preside over this whole meeting tonight. And Lord, that your divine wisdom would be a guiding light and a lamp to our feet and a light to our path. We ask all this in your Son, Jesus, our Savior's name. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I will now call to order the school board meeting of January 4th, 2024. Happy New Year, everyone. Welcome, citizens of Clay County. I want to take this opportunity to thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to attend tonight's school board meeting. This meeting is our opportunity as your elected representatives to collaborate openly and to make decisions that will decide the future direction of our public schools and the education of our children here in Clay County. If you wish to address the board on an agenda item, there will be an opportunity to speak for 3 minutes. Please fill out a card located at the side entry door indicating the specific item number or topic you wish to speak about, and turn it in promptly to one of our officers. If you have items that you would like to present to the school board or superintendent, please hand them to an officer who will distribute them accordingly. No additional cards will be accepted once the board moves to the public comment section under presentations from the audience. Your participation is welcomed and appreciated. So tonight we have a few recognitions and awards. The first being the recognition of the School Board of Clay County for achieving the certified board status. And we have Ms. Paula Coles from the Florida School Boards Association to make that presentation.
Good evening, everyone. This is a grand occasion for your board and superintendent. Let me say, I am Paula Wright Coles with the Florida School Boards Association leadership team, and I am here to present to this board and superintendent team their certified mastered board plaque. To Ms. Gilhausen, Chair, Ms. Bola, Vice Chair, to Ms. Skipper, Ms. Clark, Ms. Hanson, and to Superintendent Brodsky, congratulations. This is a great way to start your 2024 in receiving this plaque. I would like to say that I have witnessed the many hours that you have put in to make this happen for your team. This was a collaborative effort of individual commitment to reach a collective goal, and you did it. And I am just so proud of you for doing that. The impact of your efforts extends beyond the confines of Clay County School District. By achieving this distinction of a certified master board team, you have not only elevated the standards of your board here in Clay County, but also serves as a shining light for all other school districts in Florida and beyond. This was not an easy task. I was there with you on some of the conversations, but you came in individually determined to work together for the good of every student in Clay County, and you did. So on behalf of the Florida School Boards Leadership Association, I would like to present to you this board, this plaque.
Thank you so much for being here with us and making that presentation. Next, we have the recognition of schools earning the Florida Department of Education's Purple Star School of Distinction. And we have Ms. Laura Fogarty, our Director of Climate and Culture, and Ms. Trish Hunter, our military liaison, to make this presentation.
Good evening. Hello, everyone. With me tonight, I have Patricia Hunter. Trish is our military liaison for Clay County District Schools, and I have Ms. Terry Wanamaker. She is our liaison from NAS Jax. So I'm so proud to have both of them here with me tonight because it is such a joint effort between us and the military to make our military-connected students at home here in Clay County. So if I could, I'd like to share with you a little bit about our Military Purple Star of Distinction Award. The Purple Star School of Distinction designation was established by the Florida legislation in June of 2021. It recognizes schools that support the unique needs of our military families. Clay County District Schools is committed to our military and supporting their families by providing a safe, welcoming learning environment for our students. Our schools of distinction highlight military recognition events, and you may have attended some of those. We have Month of the Military, we've got Purple Up, Veterans Day, Memorial Day, and several of our schools have had specialized events that just focus on our military families, like we've had a Purple Up ball before. So anyway, they also, if you go to their website, their school website, they have a special designated area for just our military families. So it helps them acclimate to not only to our schools, but to Clay County as well. Each school also has a military life counselor. You may ask, what do? They help our families and they help our students. They help our students meet friends at school by having a lunch bunch. They help them understand the routines of the school and learn how to be the best student they can. And more importantly, they provide ongoing support whenever an active military personnel is deployed. So our schools also participate in service projects, and they also help our military community by making sure that we have designated spots always available for our military families no matter when they transfer in. So Clay County Schools, we cherish our relationship with the military and consider it an honor and a privilege to support our military families as they serve, protect, and defend our country. So tonight, guys, we are adding 6 more schools that have been awarded the Purple Star of Distinction Award from the Florida Department of Education. This is a 3-year designation. Last year, Fleming Island Elementary became our first, and so this year, please join me in recognizing the following schools. The first we have is Discovery Oaks Elementary. Mr. Jim Hareholtz. Congratulations. And if y'all would stay up here, I'm sure there will be a photo opportunity. Next up, we have Doctors Inlet Elementary. Next, we have our first high school, Oak Leaf High School. Next, we have Plantation Oaks Elementary. And followed by Patterson Elementary. Thank you.
Thank you so much for everything you do.
And next, we have Tynes Elementary. Please join me with one more round of applause for these schools earning the Purple Star of Distinction. Do you want to line them all up? Go ahead, line them up. Thank you all so much.
Congratulations, everyone, and well done. It's a really vital service that's offered to kids who truly need it. Next on our agenda is the ceremonial signing of the ratified contract between the Clay County School District and the Clay County Education Association. And followed by that will be the signing of the ratified contract between the Clay County School District and the Clay County Education Staff Professional Association.
All right, good evening. Clay County, the board and the district, we've consistently worked with both of our unions to always support and provide the employees with the best compensation possible and benefits and just a great working environment that makes a great place for our employees to work. We do this, y'all are generous with it, and also with the help of Dr. Legutko to remain fiscally responsible, because we'd love to give lots more, but we also have to remain within budget. So our teachers and support staff have had the highest increase in compensation over the past 4 years than in any previous time in Clay County history. So I'm proud that we've been able to negotiate that, and I want to thank you for your generosity in that area. I'm proud to say that we worked hard to increase the compensation over these 4 years. So tonight we want to celebrate the final closing of both the contracts with the signing of the terms of agreement. Mr. Roberts is not able to be here tonight with the CESPA, but Ms. Gilhousen, if you'll still sign their portion, then I will get it from him. So Ms. Kidwell, who's the president of CCEA, is here tonight, and I'd like to invite her. All right. Did you want to say something?
No, I'm just happy that we have an agreement, and it's always about moving us forward, and we appreciate that. Definitely a move forward.
And I have two for you to sign so that you can take one with you this evening. Thank you. And then you can just give me those back at the end of the night. Thank you to sign. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Happy New Year. Thank you.
Okay, our last presentation is the Ed First Citizens Advisory Committee update, and this will be given by Ms. Bryce Ellis, our Assistant Superintendent of Operations.
All right, good evening, Superintendent Broski, board members. Bryce Ellis, Assistant Superintendent of Operations. Tonight, I'd like to give you a brief overview of what Ed First is and how the funds have been used, and also to hear from Jeff Nelson, the chairperson from the Ed First Validation Committee. I will turn it over to him after I give a brief introduction of kind of the revenue and what we've done with it in the past couple of years, and then he can speak to the validation committee and kind of what we do, and then officially validate it. All right, so Ed First, back in 2020, we decided that we were going to go for a half-cent sales tax for a facility restricted tax. So in the state of Florida, we're only allowed to do a half-cent sales tax. There are other states like Georgia that are allowed to do a 1-cent sales tax. We decided to go for a half-cent sales tax, which was the most we could do. And also, we were allowed to go up to 30 years. A lot of other districts, sometimes they do 10, 12, 15, 30. We said, we're going to go big or go home. So we did 30, and thank you to the citizens of Clay County. They approved it, so we won't have to go out for this tax again until 2050, which is great news. The bad news is I might still be here, so I'll try to get it again. So again, this is facility restricted, so it's only for construction, reconstruction, and improvement of facilities. And that's a copy of the resolution. That's actually what went out. And just for your reference, the highlighted area just says what everything that it can be spent on. Again, this is just a brief timeline. It was voted in 2020. The collection didn't actually begin until January of 21. The receipt on funds is actually about a 2-month delay. So when we started collecting in January, we don't immediately get that money. We usually get it about 2 months later, so we usually receive it in about March. The committee members were nominated and voted in by the board and approved, and we meet with the committee members, the district staff, and the Ed First committee meet quarterly to go over the different projects and answer any questions that they have. We have all of our files there for them to go through if they have any questions, if they want to look at the pay apps. I will say the first year was kind of it was a learning curve for all of us. So it was kind of, what do you want to hear from us? We would give examples. Is that enough? We wanted to be completely transparent, bring any questions that they're receiving from the outside to ask us. And then kind of at the end, it ends up just being a conversation of kind of where the school district is going and plans we have, which, again, this is just one fund source that we have in facilities. So just because it's not on a list that we share with the committee doesn't mean it's not something we're not doing. So a lot of times they'll bring up things like, oh, I thought, I heard about this and this. Again, this is just one of the fund sources we have, and so that's all we talk about at this specific committee funding-wise. So here's our financial report for 22-23. So it's we're kind of competing here with fiscal year, calendar year. So we operate fiscal year, obviously, which is June to July. And so when we first started this, the projected income was only going to be $13.5 million only. I mean, that's great. We're happy with $13.5 million, happy to receive it. But actually, the first year we received $15 million. And then this is the second year, 22-23, we actually received $17.8 million. So every year, as the population increases in Clay County and people travel through Clay County, we receive revenue from the half-cent sales tax. So it's actually at $17.8 million. And you can see individually, I've gone through, and I also work with Susan Legutko on confirming the revenue, and also it's on the Florida revenue webpage. So anybody can look at that. We tell that to the committee members. We share that, hey, you can double check what we're receiving. This is, so again, when we're talking about calendar year versus fiscal year, we're actually only about 6 months into this fiscal year. So I just wanted to share with you the 23-24 calendar year. Right now, with the trends and the dollars that we're receiving right now, the projection is 21.5 million. Now, different months are higher and lower in sales tax. A lot of times, beginning of school, we receive a lot of sales tax. Everybody's going out and getting new clothes, and we kind of get a bump there. And then again at the holidays, November, December, we usually get a bump there, and then it backs down. But the trend overall is we are receiving more and more every year, every month. Again, this is just this is the total revenue, and we follow it by fiscal year. So the first year, you see it was only, because it started in January and our fiscal years starts in the middle of the year, we only have like 6 months. So that's why the revenue is different there. But you can see it went 16 and 17 and then 23, 24. That is just the receipt until now. And again, we're on the 2-month delay, so we only have receipt through October. So that doesn't include November and December. But again, we're happy, we're excited and thankful to Clay County. The total revenue is $47 million. So how much have we expended? Everybody wants to know how much we've expended. So this is what we've expended, the $31.9 million overall. Again, that first year, we didn't have a committee for 6 months. And then again, we didn't have money either because of the 2-month delay of receipt. The big increase in year 3, the $22 million, that was, if you all know about the Keystone Elementary project, that was one of the Ed First projects. So that was one of the bigger dollar figures that came in. So all the payments for that was in that year. So that's why there's an increase in that year. I know this is hard to read. This is the list of all the projects itemized since inception. So we do have this on our website, and I have a handout that's also in your folder. This is what we present to the committee, and we go line item by line item. They have questions. We provide the folders, and again, they're there to validate, to make sure. And we do ask. We're like, what can we do better? What can we be more transparent about? What are you hearing out in the public that's not, they feel like they're not getting answers to? So we try to do the best we can. And then I just wanted to share, I know a lot of people, I know I'm visual, I like to see the pictures. And again, this was really, the Ed First projects were really deferred maintenance. So in the beginning, these first couple of years we're ramping up, we're not doing very fun projects. Now, Keystone Heights Elementary, that was kind of a fun project to me. But right now, we're doing air conditioner replacement. So, I mean, it's not all that glamorous, but it's one of those things that when it's not working. So it's important, obviously. Again, just the rooftop units getting up onto Doctor's Inlet, and I have the budget costs down there in the corner so you can see how much these projects cost. We renovated the Ridgeview High School restrooms with the Ed First money. Now we have renovated other restrooms with other funding sources. So I just want to make sure I share that. But as you can see here, I know a lot of times someone in the office was like, well, it looks like you just did paint and floors. And it's really more than that. It's all the fixtures. It's all the plumbing behind there. Once you tear out all of these things, our schools are dated and old. So once we start tearing everything out, we have to replace, obviously, everything. We want these to be in the best working condition. That's just another before and after. We replaced the stalls as well for the school spirit blue. Some more rooftop units. Middleburg High School's roof. This was a lengthy project and an expensive project. It's one roof there. It's 6 acres. It took over a year, and if you ask the school, it was a very exciting project, but it needed to happen, and we couldn't have done it without this. Oakley Village Elementary's re-roof. Middleburg High, all of their rooftop units on top. Again, you see that's $1.4 million. there was 13 units up there. So again, it's especially when we talk about the high schools, everything's compounded. There's so much there. And then Keystone Heights Elementary, we're very happy to do this for them. As you can see, we touched almost half the campus there, and that was $21.4 million for that project. And then I just wanted to point out that on the one clay on the main page on the top right, we have half-cent sales tax on there. So anybody who goes there, I encourage them to look up the top right. This is also something that is a working, a work in progress as we try to update and post everything on the website. But it's up to date with all the completed projects and also the projects that are proposed for 22, 23. And then we will, after we meet with the committee, the next meeting is January 23rd, we will repost and update what was validated at that committee meeting. And I encourage you to take a look or any feedback that you might have. So at this time, we do an official validation of all of the projects that we have done. Jeff Nelson is our chairperson for the committee. He is a retired school board member, or not member, employee, thank you. And I'd just like for him to say a few words and validate that we have spent the money in accordance with the referendum.
Happy New Year, Board. Mr. Broski, Happy New Year to you. Yeah, I was 35 years with Clay County Schools, working with David Broski as one of his assistant principals, and spent many years with all those projects with Bryce as a project manager. The committee gets together and we look at exactly what you saw. She gives us the spreadsheets. We see where the projects are. She gives us the sheets that tells us, the state's sending you this much revenue. And then we look at the sheets, say, okay, who's next on line? You guys have made the okay to spend the money. You've given those permission slips out to Bryce, and she runs down to the store, and Home Depot cashes them in for her. We see a big change because every time that Bryce comes in, she brings in the project managers, she brings in business affairs. They all explain to us in the simplest of terms where the money came from, where it went to, and it's there in black and white. So what I'm here tonight is, as the committee chair for Ed First, is to validate that for this past year, to tell you that we've looked over all the finances and you've spent and we've spent exactly what's listed on that sheet. We appreciate it as a citizen. I've got 6 grandkids in one school, so I see the change all the time. And I appreciate the Assistant Superintendent Operations and in Business because they have given us everything we've asked for. They've come in, I thought it was an FBI raid one night. They had boxes and boxes and boxes, and we went through everything that if there was a question that needed to be answered, they were there to answer it for us. So give them and you the kudos. We appreciate it and like to validate that sheet for this year. Thank you.
And I have him, he has signed that, and the whole committee has approved this letter. We all read it together and looked at it and said, this is good. The whole committee approves it and approved Jeff Nelson signing it. It is a public meeting. If anybody is interested in coming, we do have it listed on the website, but anybody can come. It's open to the public. And are there any questions right now?
Any questions from the board? No. Thank you, Ms. Ellis. We
Okay.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
And thank you, Mr. Nelson. We appreciate the partnership between you guys and our board. We have no school showcase for tonight, so this will be the last call for comment cards. If anybody still has a yellow card that you'd like to turn in for an opportunity to speak, this will be the last opportunity. So if you have it, just wave it so that we can see. All right. Seeing none, at this time, we will begin presentations from the audience. The first speaker will be Bruce Reynolds. And when you come to the microphone, just as a reminder, please state your name and your address for the record.
Good evening. My name is Bruce Reynolds, 2923 Bobcat Court, Green Cove Springs. and I authored the letter you received on or about December 11th on behalf of the Solite Task Force of Clay County citizens. The task force believes that some contamination has migrated from the old Florida Solite plant. We are working closely with the Florida Department of Environmental Protection to expand their environmental investigation from the Solite Stone Ridge Farms property to include the surrounding community. It is important to note that up until now, FDEP and the US EPA have only asked for the most contaminated areas, a surface impoundment referred to as the scrubber pond and an adjacent overflow pond, to have engineering controls and deed restrictions to protect human health. The regulators have not, until now, required actual cleanup with removal of contaminated media. After numerous meetings and document exchanges, it now appears that the regulators are changing direction. FDEP has formally notified the Solite property owners that those controls are inadequate and that a new plan must be developed to either cap the area or dredge the area and backfill with clean soils. I believe this indicates that FDEP is no longer convinced that contamination cannot migrate to the surrounding community. This belief is further supported by independent testing with samples taken from private properties outside the Solite boundaries. A copy of those test results was attached to the letter you received from us. Some of those samples were close to the Russell Road property recently purchased by the school district. These test results go against the theory that the area's natural geology and water flow prevent the spread of contaminants. We agree that geology and the presence of the CSX railroad tracks make contamination migration less likely, but yet we have empirical data that seems to prove contaminant migration, including arsenic, cadmium, chromium, and other metals, has happened. Now, as we stated in our letter, we do not have evidence that contaminants have migrated onto the school district property, but we reviewed the Phase 1 environmental site assessment report you paid for, and your contractor presented zero evidence that there is no contamination. So we are asking you for due diligence. We are requesting that you take the conservative approach and do appropriate soil, sediment, and groundwater testing to ensure the safety of future users of that property. Thank you.
Next is Chad Weeks.
Chad Weeks, 2659 Robbie Lee Lane, Green Cove. I'm here. I was here to give the invocation earlier, but also here to back up Bruce with the Solite Task Force. I'm one of the board of directors on that as well. And just wanted to encourage the school board to take some of these concerns very seriously. I'm hoping and praying that the property that you guys have acquired for the school, which I think is a great property and absolutely needed in that area. I live right there in the heart of Lake Asbury, so I know how crazy the growth is, how overcrowded schools can get in that area soon, and so it's absolutely needed. But also just want to urge you guys to do some further testing just to rule out the possibility that the solite contamination did not migrate over onto the property that you guys are acquiring for our little ones. So I hope and pray that's not the case, but I think we would all agree that the safety of these children come first. So thank you for your consideration.
Next is Judith Chappelle.
Good afternoon, guys. My name is Judith Chappelle, and I am at 1604 Royal Fern Lane in Fleming Island, Florida. So my topic today is maybe an unpopular topic. It is something that's been touched on before, but no real action or attention has been paid to it. And I want to preface it by saying it is not in any way to diminish the accomplishments of any of the students or all of the students that are ever given awards here at this meeting. But it is rather to be respectful of the time and the intent of this meeting. It is obvious by the attendance today and the attendance after the awards and recognition, that there needs to be a separation of the awards meeting and the school board meeting. So I am asking that we start the year with this consideration in mind, that there is two separate meetings, a meeting for those of us who are interested in the intent of a school board meeting, and those of us who are here to recognize the children who are receiving awards and recognition. Thank you.
Next is Bruce Friedman.
Good evening, Bruce Friedman, Middleburg address on file. Through the course of this month, I have submitted with today's batch 34 new book challenges, 17 appeals. There are now 418 pending appeals. You've approved policies requiring my strict behavior. You've had a year to begin to address these appeals. 0 have been addressed. I'm entitled to redress of grievances, answers on 418 questionable books. That's on you. I know there'll be changes in the future. I hope you move promptly. With regards to Ed First, I listened closely. Tens of millions of taxpayer dollars are being spent. God willing, that's being done wisely. Air conditioning, bathrooms, paint, maintenance, new schools, getting rid of some of our tired pods. That's all great. How much does it cost to clean up the pollution of pornography in our library? Do you even know? I'm going to let you develop that on your own. I think that a review of the most egregious appeals, the books that have been sitting on the shelves for over a year that haven't received any of your attention, if you don't address it promptly, I'm going to do them one book at a time by calling the press. And I'll put all your names in the story and the title and the author, and we'll let the community decide en masse. That's my plan. Have a great night.
Next is Tara Richardson.
I'm sorry, it takes me a minute to get up here. My name is Tara Richardson and my address is on file. And can I just say I'm really proud of all of the school board employees and former employees that are so active in what's going on in our school system, whether it is for, repairs and supervision of the tax expenditures, taxes, which I'm kind of proud that I was part of that, and just different things. We're a very active group of people. First of all, I want to say Happy New Year. At the Richardson Pizarro House this year, books were on the menu. My grands picked out assorted books from Amazon, and Grandma, of course, purchased many requested titles. It had occurred to me that my granddaughters are very blessed to have a household that appreciates the diversity of books and the different points of view that can be presented in them. They use the public library system to augment what we can't afford or whatever they think they might need. But they are also blessed to have parents who recognize the importance of a diverse point of view in their educational process. And they're very blessed to be able to afford this luxury. And many of our students are not that blessed and cannot afford the luxury of a curated library. And so I just hope that I live long enough to be able to convince you all that that's not the best process, and I won't threaten you with anything if you don't.
I'm going to take a stab at this. Jack Randall, is that correct? Okay.
Hey, good evening. My name is Jack Randall. My address is 2291 Southbrook Drive, Fleming Island. I'm with the Clay Day. I'm a new writer and editor. I just wanted to take this opportunity to introduce myself and also announce this new initiative we have at our paper, a creative arts contest. Artistic involvement is a value that I hold personally, and it's an attitude that the paper shares. And for the parents and students who are watching at home, I want to encourage you to reach out and participate in our contest. Clay County Schools, one of the best in the nation. Students are all super creative, and I'm really excited for a large turnout and to see what the kids come up with. So thank you.
All right, that concludes presentations from the audience. At this time, we will move on to the discussion agenda. We have a Human Resources Special Action A. At this time, I'll entertain a motion.
Move approval.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a second, I have a motion from Ms. Bola and a second from Ms. Hanson. Any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. All right, next is Human Resources Special Action B. Do I have a motion?
I'll move approval.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion from Ms. Bola and a second from Ms. Hanson. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. We have no Human Resources Special Action.
Madam Chair, can we just
C.
wait 1 second?
Mhm.
It's probably my eyes. Thank you.
All right, so at this time, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Do I have a motion?
I move approval.
And a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion from Ms. Bola, a second from Ms. Clark. Any discussion?
I think I'd like to point out in C17, a lot of the plan funds to be spent, it's, I think, interpretation and knowing the wording, but a lot of that is plan portable replacement. And I think we need to make sure that the citizens are aware that it's being tackled. So thank you.
Definitely. Anything else? All right. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. So at this time, we'll have an update from CCEA.
Good evening. I just want to say Happy New Year. I have a lot of hope for this new year, and I know you do too, that Clay County schools will continue to grow and become everything that it can be. I want to especially say a thank you to Bryce, Miss Ellis. It's not glamorous fixing people's air conditioners, but it's huge. When you're in a classroom full of kids freezing or sweating and the parts aren't there, she does everything that she can to make sure that they've got portable something, another place to go. It's huge. And the day-to-day, it's thankless probably, and she probably feels like it never ends, but she always takes my calls when the teachers call me crying, and she does everything she can to get it fixed. So it's a great place to work. It's a great place to learn in Clay County. I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful to be a voice for the teachers. And I hope that this new year will be better than last year. Thank you.
All right, we have a CESPA update. Oh, Mr. Roberts, you're here. Come on up.
He's here.
Good evening, everybody, and Happy New Year's to everybody also. I just made it tonight. Normally, I can't come to these meetings on Thursdays. That's why I'm a little late again tonight. Had to sneak out of my meeting early with the docs. And so I like to make more of the meetings here and hopefully get to know each and every one of the school board members that are new that I haven't talked to just yet. This week is a good week for maintenance because we are working without children in the classrooms. Get out of the way, move this, can you move that? So we're doing pretty good. We're knocking things out. As a whole, CESPA is looking forward for a good year. Hopefully, we can go ahead and stay in your presence and have a good year here. I didn't come prepared for too much, just to say Happy New Year and say hi to all you guys' faces and go Steelers.
Mr. Roberts, I have a good friend who said once that trying to clean your house when your kids are home is like brushing your teeth while you're eating Oreos. So I can relate to trying to clean and fix things when you have kids in the building. It is a challenge, so I hope that you guys are able to accomplish a lot of it while they're not here. All right, next we have a presentation from the superintendent.
So let me just say Happy New Year to everybody, and I think we'd all agree that is the best speech Lonnie and Vicky has ever given. How many people agree? Raise your hands, right? I appreciate that. We're off to a good start this year. Awesome. So this evening I've got a couple things to go over. I'll go quickly because some of the stuff I've talked about at the previous workshop. Talk about schools of the month, district school grades, planning for 24-25, controlled open enrollment, and events that are coming up. So I'll attempt to go very quickly here. This month, the theme is Awesome Academies. Don't forget, you can go to the website, vote for your school, each school that wins. If you go into there, usually it's displayed in the front lobby as the big giant pencil. That means that they won and they were a school of the month. So we're very appreciative to Community First and their partnership. District and school grades were released like a couple of days right before the last workshop, so I threw something together for that workshop due to the importance of it. Again, just to remind everyone, we are an A school district, one of only 16 districts in the state of Florida, and whether you look at the number and say, hey, the number could be higher, my dad always told me the number could always be higher unless it's 100. Right? I remember coming home with a 92, and he reminded me that I still had 8 points to go. And that's how I was raised. So I believe that. And so there's much improvement to be done. And at the same time, you better celebrate what you know to be true. The fact is, only 16 districts in the state of Florida are A school districts. Clay County is one of them. That's a fact. Okay. Some other things I'd just like to point out, some notable achievements. Middleburg High School used to be principal there. Somebody else used to be a student there. And A school, once again, congratulations to the Broncos. Same with Oak Leaf High School, same with Ridgeview High School. Keystone Heights High School, since I think it was 2011, if I remember correctly, last time that they were an A school, had an increase of 31 points. Green Cove and Lake Asbury Junior, back to A school status for them. Shadow Lawn Elementary, same thing. McRae, an A school out there, McRae, they do fantastic work out there. And if you go out there, you wanted to go out there and visit out in McRae, and they do a great job with students out there. And Coppergate. So how about this? Clay's ranked 6th in the state of Florida in the niche ratings, and U.S. News and World Report had Orange Park Elementary School at 19 in all of Florida, right? So that's notable achievements there. Other notable achievements were actually 2nd in the entire state of Florida, 67 counties, 2nd in social studies, which is a combination of civics and history. If you go by just civics, we're number 1 in the state of Florida in civics if you separate those two categories out. We're 4th in science, which includes 5th grade, 8th grade, and biology is assessed there. 9th in the state of Florida in math, and 12th in ELA. So no matter what number or metric, just like the SAT goes up to a 1600 or hey, it's 62% or whatever, the reality is, for me, I want to try to provide the best educational opportunities for our students, and the way I do that is I measure that against everybody else that I compete against. And so when I look at that, no matter what the number is, that you come up with, you still are competing under the same rules and under the same circumstances. So when I look at it that way, that's a lot to celebrate on that screen. So I always say it takes a group of people. I always talk about three groups of people. I usually talk about the school system, the community at large, and parents, but also students play a big part in it. We're blessed to have good students, good families in Clay County. I read what Nish had Clay County ranked as #1 in the state for best place to live with a good public school system. They had another way of dicing it out. I'll send you guys the link to that article because it'd be good for you to see. So this is, of course, our vision for instruction: high expectations, strong instruction for our student, which includes student engagement, also demonstration of understanding, academic ownerships, students working harder than the teachers, and a high level of rigor in the classroom. The funny thing about working in the district is you're doing things for right now, but you're also planning for the future. So I look at when you come back right after January, it's like, okay, you're in 24, 25 in the planning phase. So there's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes to get ready. It's a good 6-month process to get ready for 24, 25. I always used to laugh because teachers would, in the mailbox room, they would start when there's a couple weeks left, and Miss Hanson could tell you this. They'll start to count down the days, and they would say, hey, there's how many teachers out there remember doing this? 8 days left, 12 days left, whatever. I was always the principal that went in there and erased it, and I would put something like 87 days to pre-planning.
Yes,
Good luck, let's get started. So 8th graders are engaged in career inventories now to get themselves ready to go on to high school. College and career coaches and high school counselors are visiting junior high schools. There's parent nights involved in supporting students' decisions as to what academic role they want. School choice, our school choice program is really second to none in the state of Florida. There's so many options, whether you want to look at our CTE programs, whether you want to look at our accelerated programs, Cambridge, IB, or our STEAM programs, controlled open enrollment, virtual options. Really, there's so many choices for people to be involved with to get the educational choice that matches their needs of their student and their family. Now, you can't see that chart, but there's about 40 different CTE programs, and that kind of lists all those programs on the left. About 11,000 students in our district participate in our CTE programs. The accelerated options, by the way, not every student goes to college, but every student should have the opportunity to go to college if they so choose to do that through accelerated programs. You can see we have Cambridge in almost all of our schools, and pre and IB, dual enrollment, early college, and advanced placement in all of our secondary, in our high schools. So that's January. Invitations are sent. Rising 7th graders and 9th graders are sent for qualifying programs. January and February, schools are holding informational parent nights to get ready. So you can kind of see the district's already like preparing for next school year. Starts right away when you get back in January. February and March, the deadlines to apply for those programs, usually those applications are on the website. And March, acceptance letters are usually sent to students saying, hey, you're in that program. All of that is transpiring now as soon as we get back from holiday. We also have controlled open enrollment. Controlled open enrollment is in accordance with the statute and board policy. So when you do that, there's really 4 schools that are currently open, and they're up there: Charles E. Bennett, Montclair, SBJ, and Grove Park. And that information is on the website. It's updated every 12 weeks by statute. The last day for the following year, for the 24-25 school year, you'll see it posted on there May 30th as we do our final preparations for numbers for enrollment for next school year. So upcoming events: One Clay Parent Academy. This will be the second one we had. You know that our third goal of our strategic plan is about community and parental engagement. That's part of that effort. MLK Day is the 15th, so we're off on that day. All county band, the 18th. All county secondary chorus, the 22nd. School choice week is January 21st through 27th. If you have any questions about school choice, please go to the website to the school choice tab, and you can find the information there as well as some helpful numbers. Celebrate Literacy Week, the 22nd to 26th, and all county elementary chorus then. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm glad to be back. And, Sue and I, we kind of we get bored actually. We say, hey, it's time to come back. And so we're glad to be back.
All right, thank you, Mr. Superintendent. Do we have any school board attorney remarks this evening? Okay. School board member remarks, anybody want to start?
I always start, it's not fair.
How about we go in the middle? Ms. Skipper, you want to start? Is that a no?
Let's go in the middle.
Happy New Year to everyone. And then to start off the new year, I can match your energy. Superintendent Broski, ready to get started and working again. I know that excites all of you. But I wanted to just touch on a few things that we had discussed last year that either we didn't accomplish, didn't get back around to it, or we're going to reassess it here in the new year. So I know being a new board member last year, this was the time that we were trying to learn everything. And I do mean that it is a literal black hole when you try to learn the ins and outs of the district. There's so many operating pieces and you can get lost real quick. But I know that last year there were a lot of things that were happening in the first few months, like you discussed, getting ready for the 24-25 school year. So I know we talked about 7 mindsets. Do we want to renew it? Things like this before we get into a contract or before it comes before us. Do we as a board want to discuss an alternative? Should we keep going with it as of this year? So I want to make sure that we are aware that stuff like this is hitting. And then I know that we talked about the, I think it was called PENDA last year, just these computer programs that I know a few of us board members have kind of emphasized, a piece of chalk or a dry erase board, teaching versus utilizing these supplemental computer programs. So I want to make sure that we know that these things are coming, when they're coming, and what is our alternative to these programs. Also just reassessing, is it working? Is it not working? What can we do better? And then I know that we discussed starting bargaining and executive sessions early on in the year, getting a head start on this, expressing our concerns, but also in communication with our labor attorney, making sure that we are setting up that appointment. I know that we discussed, I can't remember if I discussed this on the floor or not. I know we discussed this, just having him present early on, sitting down, talking with us, meeting with us, getting to know us, wanting, expressing our concerns and what we want to see happen. And then I know staff allocations are also around springtime. I'm speaking as one board member. I personally would best guess. I know that that's something that you can't really pin down till, I want to say, last minute, but something that I would like to see ahead of time, especially if we do these executive sessions earlier, and having multiple. And then lastly, the survey policy that I discussed, I think it was actually before Mr. Blocker joined our team. I don't think he was present when we went over that, because I think that was like last April. Okay, April. Yeah, okay, last April. We never got back around to that, and I know that there's some surveys still happening. And then the visitor policy, just nailing that down. I know that that was several months ago, and I know we were in the works of that, and I would just like to see that finished and accomplished if we can. And then I just want to share with all of you and all of our citizens that January 16th, that's the day, right? Yeah,
Yep.
January 16th. Myself, Ms. Hanson, and I don't know if the other board members have confirmed or denied if they're going to be there or not, but having a open forum for all of you to get input on our media policy. I know we've been talking about books for quite some time, and we want to hear from you. We want to hear from the media specialists, the staff, administrators, parents, students, taxpayers of Clay County. This is us wanting, you elected us and put us in this position to serve you, to be your voice. So we would like you to come out and voice what you guys would like to see different, or what we're doing good, what you like that is happening. So we would love to see you there. And I think that's it. Sorry for the long-winded.
No, that's all right.
Mine's longer.
Ms. Clark? Your turn.
I want to thank the folks that came with the Solite Task Force, but I want them to know that we've already planned time to review and go over all of this, and we take it very seriously, but I also don't want citizens to be scared needlessly. Being in land development, we come across land that's contaminated all the time, and there's ways to fix it. But I also, my brother-in-law used to be in this business as far as biology and all the environmental issues. And I spoke to his wife over the Christmas holidays, and we feel confident what the state has done in their testing is appropriate, but we do plan to review carefully. And fortunately, we've got Mr. Addison, who is going to head up a meeting with some of us in the district, and make sure that, everything is handled appropriately and there's no issues. So we take it very seriously, but we don't want people to be alarmed needlessly. So, but I also want to thank Ms. Hanson for tackling a new school book policy, and I'm anxious to hear what that's going to be, because we do need to resolve this, and a lot of things have taken priority. All of it's priority, though. So, but I'm anxious to see how it works out. So, and I'm always happy to hear about the military part of our community, because that's what built Clay County, if you know the history of Clay County. So always excited to know that more families are going to come to Clay because of the quality of the education and the camaraderie of the families. So thank you for everybody that makes that happen.
All right, Ms. Hanson?
Oh, okay. All right. I may be a little bit wordy, but I have 3 topics. The first topic is, I was actually honored to meet with all of probably one of the most beat upon groups of teachers in the last couple of years, unfairly, mind you. But I had a chance to meet with the secondary media specialists from across Clay County, junior high and high school. And they are a group of teachers who right now are very, very underappreciated, and I guess kind of like a punching bag. What I wanted to say about this is some of the teachers in there I've known 20 years. One of them in there is a new media specialist. I taught her in 7th and 8th grade at Wilkinson Junior High. Most of these people were not in these positions when books were purchased. So I wanted to set the record straight. They were also brave enough to stay after with me alone and tell me the truth. I just listened. The truth about how the funds have been frozen and they were not allowed to buy SAT, ACT prep books because the board froze the funds. I also want to say that this board would not have frozen funds for ACT, SAT prep books. That when we talk to people who are in the classroom, and when we talk to people who are living the real life and the truth day to day, you learn a lot, because the funds should not have been frozen for academic books. Especially ACT, SAT books that are updated every year. They're updated to help kids achieve higher scores on these things. I learned a lot. I learned that they have the best ideas on how to fix a policy than anyone I've heard standing on this floor or anyone I've talked to. I learned they are positive people with positive ideas to make change for the people they love most, which is their students. And I want to assure the board that this group of people who are still emailing me ideas will be heavily leaned upon when this policy is finally knocked out and for us to have our discussion. That was number one. Number two is we are about to go into a policy making, maybe like a frenzy, all right? We're going to start looking at all of our policies. Most important policies first, I hope, and then situational month by month, whatever we decide that we want to do as a board of five, the policies. I have a concern though. So I'm honestly going to tell you how this concern came to me. I was trying to find something on student policy of students. So I go to our webpage, and what we have is, in this age of technology, says table of contents. Can we pass this out? Can you guys pass it down, or I don't. And so this is a visual that they need to see as I'm talking to better understand. So in the day of technology, we have something called table of contents, and you click on it and an old PDF comes up with pages, and there's just like a slew, page after page after page of table of contents. You're not going to get anywhere from there. There's no hyperlinks. You can't really tell what you're looking for. But let's say I stumbled upon a word student. So I happen to go click on the page it tells me. A lot of times when you click on our policies, I'm going to tell you, for example, no one should have to scroll through the table of contents first to try to figure out what they're looking for. When you do find it, there's no hyperlink, so then you have to go on a search through the actual. We have 1 organization, 2 human resources, 3 employee relations, 4 instruction, 5 business, 6 support, 7 information, 8 general, whatever, and 9 police department. So I'm trying to find something from a student. First of all, we don't even have a topic for a student or parent. So now I didn't even know where to go look. No one should have to scan through, for example, section 6, support services, 35 pages to find what they're looking for. We have a real problem. Sometimes I have this tendency to overreact, so I said, let me go in and look about 15 or 20 counties, right? I'm just gonna type in Brevard County school board policies and see what pops up. So I did 15 different counties, and all 15 counties are updated with hyperlinks to make the citizens and our educational community have easier access to our policies. What good is it to remaster policies and make things better for our educational community if you have a question, you can't find it? I realize a lot of times when I'm talking to constituents, they say, you don't have this, you don't have that, and I say, oh, yes, we do. Well, today I found out I couldn't find any as a school board member. Now, of course I can, really, because I've been doing this now for a whole year. I can find, and I have access. I can ask people. Most people don't have that. So what we have in front of you that I gave you, our website has, like I said, 1, 2, 3 through 9. You click on it, the entire document comes up. If you look at the paper in front of you, this is from Hillsborough County. It's for the board to take direct look at this. So they actually have a section called 5,000. Students, can you believe it? Students. If you want to know something about students, if you look, and you guys cannot see this, but there are about 60 hyperlinks. So if you wanted to go in and learn about the bullying policy of Clay County, you would scroll down and you would click on bullying and bam, it comes right up. It's called a hyperlink, right? By section, with a title and subheadings. This is how the world operates. We find things in encyclopedias, even online in old-fashioned books. Table of contents, subheadings, content. As we go through these policies, it makes no sense to keep the prehistoric, make people read through 100 pages to find something versus clicking on a hyperlink for attendance. I'm going to also suggest for the board that as we, and of course I'm one of 5, so you might have good ideas about this, is why I'm telling you. As we progress through our policy making, perhaps in that hyperlink, we highlight it green and say updated on 5/2023. It allows for the people of Clay County, it is our job to make policy, and they will be able to see what it is we're working on. We could do it different ways. We could have a folder where we put the obsolete policies. We could have a folder that says updated policies. I am not expecting a technology department to go in and do what almost every county in the state of Florida has already done. But as we go, we most certainly can update our website to make it easier for the constituents of Clay County. That was number 2, sorry. One more thing, sitting. I haven't really talked a lot lately, I guess. So I got an email from someone, and my heart was broken. Because this is probably one of the happiest moments of my kids' lives and my students' lives. And it was a parent worried about Scholastic Book Fair, and I'm like, how dare you, those erasers. I love the erasers. I would give all the kids $1 or $2 who didn't have any money so they could buy something from the book fair. So instead of being like that, I decided, let me see, maybe she's right. Let me look it up. Let me do some research on this. I started looking into the research on Scholastic. And I am not against Scholastic, by the way. I love Scholastic book fairs, but we do have a problem in this modern day that we need to address. So I'm going to show you one example, and if the board would like, I can have this, I can upload this as a PDF and send it to you, and we can decide, Madam Chair, maybe at what workshop. But we have book fairs that are coming up, and I need you to at least know what I discovered in my research. Here you have in front of you a book. It's a book with 2 little kitty cats on the front of it. It is for 3rd through 5th grade. It's called Meow or Never. And it's not story time, I'm just going to read a little bit. It's never too late to make a new friend. All right, great, right? A little heart on the nose, looking good. This is in the Scholastic Book Fair this year. The description of Meow and Never goes into that Avery can't sing, but she can sing in front of people. She likes the stage, backstage. As she sings Phantom one day, her crush, a girl named Nick, overhears her and ropes Avery into auditioning. She knows she should be excited, but mostly Avery's terrified. So you have this description that's pretty much, oh, okay, whatever. The problem is the description doesn't match the content. And the only reason I know this is I have just jumped and dove into this whole book problem we're having. I do not believe this is appropriate, at least without warning parents. Because on page 118, now this is the kitty cat book, Meow or Never, I nod, mulling over Danny's explanation with the scale still just used, feminine or masculinity. That's still binary, I think. Only 2 options. It's not a question if Danny is more of a girl than a boy, or Danny's saying non-binary is separate and doesn't have to rely on those 2 to exist. Okay, I get it. Is there a person in here that thinks someone at 8 years old should buy a book, Meow or Never, and get a life lesson on gender? I didn't think so. We have a problem. It's not one or two books. I've got pages of parents complaining about what their kids are reading. I don't know, Mr. Superintendent, what we can do about this, whether we can put up warnings that there might be material in here like this. This is why I bring it to you now, so that you can help problem solve perhaps.
So I can tell you, I have experience with Usborne book fairs and haven't had any issues like that. So I don't know if maybe there's just an alternative that we could use if we're having issues with
I
what
would just really
Scholastic
like
is offering.
everyone's brain power on this to figure out, because it's okay if a parent wants to buy the book. They just need to know that the description may not match the content, and that's the concern I have.
So if I can suggest that I can work with staff to come up with a plan and email you what the plan is to put your mind at ease related to this topic. I know they're already doing that and brainstorming now
Okay.
on how to deal with that issue.
All right.
I just was gonna ask, is this like state laws not come in effect with Scholastic? I know that even publishers, that we purchase, through and stuff, they have to accommodate for Florida law. Is like Scholastic not have to do that?
So Ms. Skipper, Scholastic actually had made an attempt. They made a list of books that for Florida that could be inappropriate for Florida schools. And then they were sued by the authors. And so then they decided they're just going to put them back in with no notice at all. It's a real big mess. It's a political mess. It's a mess these poor kids shouldn't even have to be in, if you want to know the truth. There's plenty of good reading material out there. And so I don't really know how this came to be in a children's book fair, but it really disgusts me that we have to sit here and talk about one of the favorite things that my kids ever did was run into that book fair every year. So
I was under the impression that media specialists were working with Scholastic and screening books prior to their opening up the book
well,
fairs.
that's what they were supposed to do, but then Scholastic
but-
changed their mind.
Well, the media specialist has the final say as to what's going to be sold as well.
So they're going to read them
if-
all?
Well,
Because
if
the
they're familiar
description.
with the books
Yeah.
and they know that there might be questionable books of this nature, they can pull them.
Yeah,
There's
well, they won't
not a-
know unless you read
The question is,
them.
how are they going to find
How will you
out
know?
if the description doesn't match
Because that's
what's in the
meow
content?
now or
That-
never.
this is
or
about a
whatever.
cat.
And you would never think that would be in there. So if books like that are still surfacing, to err on the side of caution, I like your idea to
There's
Just look at
alternatives. There's
alternatives.
alternative publishers besides Scholastic that you can have book fairs with. So if that's an avenue we want to explore, I don't see why we couldn't.
How about I problem solve potential solutions? And
That'd be great.
Okay, Ms.
I'm
Boland?
a downer, sorry, but that's all I have.
No,
And I
that's
hope
all right.
everyone had a great Christmas. I made homemade pierogies, hundreds of them, and ate them all. And the joke is that's why I can't stand up right now. So,
All right, Ms. Bola?
Just a couple of things. Sorry. Happy New Year to everyone. And as the school year ended with FBLA judging and FFA judging, we know that our high school students are and junior high students are well informed and well practiced in a lot of speeches and tractor driving and a variety of other things. Fortunately, I was not part of the tractor driving judging. That's a tough one. As always, I want to do a shout out to the Clay Education Foundation and their involvement with the Dolly Parton Imagination Library, which is going great guns, but we are in need of contributions so that we can continue with the 2 zip codes that we currently have, as well as begin to add additional zip codes. So I think I missed in December, actually
Ms. Bola, I was just saying, I
detail.
miss you talking about it because you didn't do it last month.
I did not do it in December. I felt bad about that as well. Another New Year's resolution. We start today. Here we go. And a reminder to teachers that are back. Tomorrow is the Tools for Schools in the afternoon at Garber Automotive, who has been fantastic at providing space and all sorts of stuff for the teachers of our community. Make certain that you go and pick up your school supplies. The Keystone Heights School Tools for Schools is next Tuesday, in Keystone. And a reminder, resupply your classrooms now. Last but not least, it's just, here again, a thank you to the Clay Education Foundation for all they've done. The Grants for Great Ideas, I believe there's another group coming out, so make certain that you keep your eyes and ears open for that. To all of the teachers out there and the students, we have one more semester, and it's going to be a good one. Happy 2024.
All right, I only have one thing I wanted to talk about with you guys. I know Ms. Hanson had brought it up, I think last month, about changing our workshop times. It would be helpful to me if we moved them to the afternoon instead of a morning. And I'm thinking to try to accommodate district staff and their work schedule, if we could maybe have like a 1 o'clock, so it's during their workday. It would allow me to have some, prior to the current board, those meetings were much shorter. So taking off from work was usually just a half day. But you know, these meetings tend to last all day. So if we could do an afternoon, that would help me to not have to take so much time away from work. I don't know how you guys all feel about that.
And I think it gives, if parents or somebody wanted to come, it's easier to take off a little bit of time in the afternoon or late afternoon than it is to take like the whole day.
Right.
So.
Right. Is that
After,
everybody?
it would be, I would defer to the superintendent and the staff. My personal preference would be afternoon or morning. I would prefer not to go to the evening, and here again, it's because of the district staff.
Ms. Skipper,
For the
Ms. Clark,
workshops.
do you guys have an opinion? You need some time?
I would, I could maybe, just, can I get back to you on that?
Sure.
Just because, childcare.
Yep.
For that, reason, but Mike could make it work. I'll see.
Okay.
If everybody wants to do it, then I'll just figure it out, but.
Okay. Ms. Clark, do you have a preference?
I can rearrange.
Okay.
Yeah. So
All right.
we're still talking about Tuesdays.
Yeah, we keep
Yep.
it everything the
Right.
same. I
Just
would
wanted
ask
to
that we move
clarify.
it to, but Ms. Skipper, we don't have to do it for this month. If you want to see what you can figure out and let us know, I don't want to make a hardship for anyone. Okay, we'll talk later. All right. Well, there is nothing further from me. Unfortunately, I will not be able to attend the community meeting on the 16th. I have a rising ninth grader, so we'll be at Clay High's parent info night to learn about the accelerated programs there. So I'll miss you guys, and I'll look forward to hearing an update.
Hearing about it. I also won't be able to be there for a prior commitment, so good luck.
Maybe
And I
next
hope
time.
Lots and lots of people show up. Yes, I'm certain there will be a second, possibly third.
All right. Well, thank you guys, and everyone have a good evening. This meeting's adjourned.